The Lonely Island and Seth Meyers Podcast.
Hey, the podcast hasn't started yet, but there was a little chit chat before it did. And since the podcast started now, I have a question for Yorma and Andy.
Yeah.
Right before we started, Yorm was talking about, not to tell you guys when we're recording this, how he has to go Christmas shopping. And he's going to a place called Mr. Mops.
Correct.
And Andy knew what that was, and I obviously did not.
Berkeley institution. Yeah.
Okay. And Mr. Mops sells stuff other than mops?
It doesn't sell any mops.
Yeah. They sell no mops, which is really false advertising. They should be sued.
The only mop you're going to find there is probably in the supply closet.
And Devin's hair is a little mop toppy, I would say. The guy who owns it, who's a friend of ours from back in the day.
Well, you still haven't said anything about what Mr. Mops is, but sure.
It's a toy
It's
store.
a toy store.
Okay.
It's a wonderful Berkeley institution that's been around for like 50 years.
I bet if you went in there and you were like, hey, do you sell mops? And they were like, no, sorry. And then you open the supply closet and you said, how much? Name your price.
And we could grease some palms and get some mops.
Now, in Berkeley, if you want a mop, you go to a place called Toy Masters, right?
Correct.
Correct.
That's classic Berkeley
Correct.
stuff.
It's like Iceland, Greenland. You got to throw people off the scent.
It's classic Iceland, Greenland. Happy holidays, you guys.
Happy holidays to you,
holidays.
Seth Lee.
We should clarify the reason that Akiva is not here today is that due to a mix-up, he thought he was picking up Yorm in Finland.
He did. I didn't tell him. But Kitos to Akiv for trying so hard. And apologies, I guess. Undexy. I'm sorry.
Happy holidays to you guys. Happy holidays to Akiva. We look forward to getting him back. Happy holidays to our listeners. And did you gentlemen listen to the previous pod? You weren't on it.
I sure did. It was a
I
treat.
loved it.
Yeah.
Loved it.
I guess I should start out on behalf of the three of us that weren't on by saying our collective thanks to Mike and to Jake, Tapper and Schur, respectively,
Yes.
for participating, as well as Seppenwall for chiming in. I texted Mike afterwards after I listened to it and told him it was actually really life-affirming to listen to. Like, oh, there's people other than us four that like these?
Yeah.
I was blown away at how, one, nice they were about it, but also Mike is a Harvard guy. Correct me if I'm wrong. Yes?
Famously.
Famously a Harvard guy. Just the most eloquent, succinct, like the way I speak, but like a little bit better. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so the generosity plus that to me was like, I couldn't believe it.
I mean, on the flip side, Jost also a Harvard guy, so it doesn't really mean much.
Yeah.
Sweet brain.
Tapper, by the way, Dartmouth, which is why he sounded like a fucking caveman.
Yeah, a lot of grunts, a lot of grunting.
Tapper did seem like he had that Yorm in Finland mic.
Hey, this is not a modern SNL rewatch podcast. I will say the holiday joke swap between Che and Jost this year was
Lord.
really something to see.
They were going hard.
I had a dumb grin on my face the whole time. I felt as though I was also falling off a building.
Yeah, and it stressed me out a little bit. I felt like Jost really got the worst side of it this year.
I texted them together and said that was incredible. That was the most incredible 6 minutes of television. And both of them wrote back in a way that made it clear they were haunted by the experience.
Yeah.
Like it wasn't, haha, yeah, man, how rad was that? Joe said, my heart is still pounding, and it was a full day and a half later.
Yeah. I mean, look, I don't want to like rank them, but it wasn't my all-time favorite one of those, but they're always thrilling.
Well, we're coming off of, people ranking our stuff, so
Yeah.
rank away, I'd say.
I mean, look, life is a listicle.
This is a top 10.
Mm-hmm.
Some things that people said in the very brief early YouTube comments about the Criterion episode is that, one, not only am I failing to stop saying I should know, both Schur and Tapper say it a ton too. So it was really devastating.
Something in the water.
I think verbally I have maybe adopted more of Schur's verbal mannerisms than maybe anyone outside of Neil Brennan. And the two of them were writing partners, so maybe they also commingled. But I think I get a lot of stuff from Schur.
I gotta say, we all went to UCs and none of us say that. Do you say that, Andy? You say, I should note?
I should note. I should also probably note. I don't think I've ever said that in my life.
No, never in my life have I said that.
Yeah.
And you spent plenty of time with Sher, so obviously it's on me that if he was the one I got it from, I obviously could have fought a little bit harder.
It's true. I mean, I spent more time with Sher in the beginning of Brooklyn, but then Dan Gore took over.
Right.
Does he say I should note, though? I feel like he would.
I wonder, we should have Dan Gore, co-creator of Brooklyn Nine-Nine, on one time and bait him into saying I should note.
Oh, that's fun.
Or just see if he does. We don't have to bait him. This should be fair.
We'll just talk to him for hours until he does it and then be like, ha-ha!
I have some questions about the results of that podcast, but a few other little housekeeping things. We got a lovely text from Kristen Wigg, who was on a long flight, and she said she was enjoying the pod, and it was very necessary because she also told us a person in her vicinity was farting a lot.
Yeah.
The whole flight.
Yeah, the whole flight.
So you know she's telling the truth then. I mean, the specificity of that.
I don't think she'd make it up. She said, and correct me if I'm wrong, she said one was so bad she said out loud, come on.
No, that's what I said that I've done.
Oh, you said it. Okay, gotcha.
I've been on a flight where someone was so rank and so relentless that I out loud went, come on! To no one in particular, but to someone in specific.
Also, we got a very special photo from another friend of the pod, John Hamm, who definitely is going to come on when we do his episode.
Have to.
Can we ask him if we can post that photo? Because it's really good.
He sent us a photo of himself in the best look in the world.
He sure did.
And he looked great.
He looked really good.
I should note it was safe for work. Jimmy Cap was not crowning.
Nope.
Like a newborn.
Yeah.
Or any other stage of life.
It looked like a photo that could very easily be in a GQ fashion spray.
It really did. He looked hot.
Yeah, I mean, look, he's a good-looking man.
The fact that he elevated best look in the world was a real...
I believe you said, Seth, starting to think the problem might have been Andy's pale stems.
Best look in the world may have raced into the culture had it been Ham from the beginning.
Oh, my God.
Yeah.
This guy must be doing some leg day or something because I'm liking what I'm seeing.
Every day is leg day. I get the sense. So there was a consensus 6 that entered Criterion.
Okay.
Lazy Sunday, Natalie's Rap, Dear Sister, I Ran So Far, Dick in a Box. There was a consensus 5.
Yeah, those are the 5 I would have.
I think that's fair.
Yeah.
I do, as we've talked about, I do argue that Laser Cats 1 should be a part of that.
Somebody made an interesting point about Laser Cats that was actually pretty convincing to me, which is that all 7 Laser Cats should go in as one.
Yes.
Is that allowed?
I don't know if Criterion specifically did, for example, the films of Bruce Lee, but it wouldn't bother you. Whereas one individual Bruce Lee movie might be a tough sell. But I think the actual complete 7.
You're like honoring the concept that we did it for each year. We did 1 per year. I agree with that.
And Andy, you've said in order for it to be Criterion, you feel like it has to enter the culture.
Right.
And I feel as though collectively the Laser Cats did.
Yeah.
Yes, I've seen definitely microbreweries who have made beers based on it.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. I'm willing, and I think we all agree, I'm not the biggest fan of Laser Cats. I'm willing to throw it right in there.
But can I say something?
Yeah.
I think we should hold off for now.
Okay.
And then maybe after Laser Cat 7, revisit.
Agreed.
that's fair.
And be like, how do we want to address this? Now, we've talked about all of them. We've sort of felt their presence throughout the seasons. Do we want to pick one? Do we want the whole thing? Do we want none?
Okay.
I would put it on ice.
Yeah.
The big surprise for me, pleasant surprise, was Mirror.
Yes. I did a bad job in the moment. Both Jake and Mike said yes, yes. I failed to point out that the Mirror did not have a vote total from the outside world.
Nor did we say it was, right? Or did we?
Right. So based on that, I think Mirror is very happily lands in Kim's video, right?
Definitely.
Yes. Andy, speaking of ones that got a little bit more shine than I was expecting, did you write to Sher about Roy Rules? Because I was very surprised that they both seemed to enjoy it as much as they did.
I can't tell if Roy Rules maybe people are now rewatching and enjoying anew. Like when it aired, I feel like it was kind of just one in the bucket.
No, but those guys definitely seemed to like have thought it through. It didn't seem like
Right.
that they had just rewatched it.
I
and,
think
like,
who has benefited the most from the pod, Roy Rules and People Getting Punched, which both received a plurality of the votes from our listeners.
People Getting Punched is the only one that didn't last week that I would have said there's an argument for.
Mm-hmm.
I would say that it goes in the Laser Cats category to me too, that it almost encapsulates like extreme activities challenge, like that there's a certain type of short that I would almost lump them all and be like, this is the same style of stupid beat, fast editing, surprise stuff.
An Akiva font.
Yes. Impact.
But can I counter?
Counter, of course.
Counter, please.
Which is to say, of that, let's say, subgenre,
Yeah.
to me, people getting punched before eating is the clear best one.
Agreed. I would agree with that.
I'm not saying I think it should. Like when you put it up against those first 5 you said, Seth, I think if you left it just to me, I would be like, it's those 5. Let's move on.
Yeah. I think everybody kind of agrees.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then Kim's video, Doppelganger, Roy Rules, The Mirror, Hero Song, Best Look in the World, Andy's Dad, people getting punched. That's a nice tier of enjoyable whimsy.
Did you say United Way in there? I felt like United Way was the other one you could argue because
Yeah.
it really was a big deal.
Why? Okay, can I say something though? Why Doppelganger in there? Is that?
I think, again, Kim's video just implies, hey, man, this is a cool thing.
By the way, I love how much we're talking about Kim's video. I fucking love Kim's video. I went there all the time.
Really?
That
Yeah.
place ruled.
I don't know
Yes.
anything about this.
It was right in our hood.
Yeah, it was. It was West Villagey.
Yeah.
And they just had cool shit and the vibe was right.
Wait, was it VHSs? Were you guys getting VHS or DVD?
Yeah, VHSs and then DVDs. When I first moved to New York, it was a lot of VHSs. And there was a time it was hard to find British crime dramas.
Yeah. You know what I would describe it as, Yorm? This is in like a pre-streaming era. Kim's video was like the New York film and TV equivalent of Amoeba Music.
Okay. I mean, that's how I pictured it.
Where you go in and everyone is cool and knows their shit and they have like obscure stuff and it's just a good vibe.
Did you feel, because when I was 6 years old, my dad took me to Telegraph Avenue, which is where all the cool stuff is, which is where Amoeba was, which is where Rasputin's was. And Rasputin's back in the day was like fucking punk. It was super punk. Not anymore.
Rasputin's is also a music store.
Yes. And I went in to buy Thriller. My dad didn't want to park. So I was given money as a 6-year-old to go buy Thriller. And I got Thriller as an LP and I put it on the shelf and it was a straight up like London punk, crazy mohawk, like just tatted up. And I just remember his face looking at me being like, this fucking, and I knew what I was buying wasn't cool. He was just like, this fucking kid.
I will say it really requires hardcore punk to not be at least entertained by the fact a 6-year-old was buying his own album.
Oh, he hated it.
Because it seems like that guy says, this is fucking kid stuff all the time. But do you say it to an actual kid? I guess is the question.
Yeah, if you're hardcore.
Also, when you're 6, like that guy easily could have been 14 years old.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Right.
But was Kim's video that cool? Were like the people who work there like, or are they just nerds?
Movie stores were never as cool as music stores.
That's true.
With that said, it was the coolest video store I'd ever been in.
Yeah.
That telltale thing I loved is the sort of handwritten sign of like staff picks.
Yeah.
Different names of different people who pick their stuff.
I mean, you know how cool the place is based on what the staff picks are, you know? Like staff picks at Blockbuster were like,
It was an eraser head.
say it, Seth.
The staff picks at Blockbuster was Roadhouse.
I think that's even too cool.
Staff picks at Blockbuster would be Notting Hill.
The Shaggy Dog.
Oh, fuck.
So you were waiting for him to get it right.
Honestly, I was trying to think of one that whole time. I wasn't sitting on the Shaggy Dog that whole time.
I'm just worried. I am so loath to say the Shaggy Dog, lest Yorm once again describe what your office looked like.
It's fair. This is fair.
Also, waiting a long time to say the Shaggy Dog is symbolic in an annoying way, too.
Listener questions.
Yeah, let's get to it.
This is a speed round. We have some hyper-specific questions. These are ones we just get a lot. Will the Lonely Island tour again?
I'm going to say yes. Andy's going to say no.
I'm going to say hopefully, but no plans.
Okay, great. Who is your dream guest for a short or someone you wanted to work with but didn't?
Eminem.
Yeah.
Okay.
Do
Do you have another one?
Well, we always said we wanted to get Bill Clinton on sax.
I still want that.
That dream still lives. If it ever gets to Bill Clinton, who now is no longer president by quite a long while.
Yeah.
So he might have some free time. If he ever wants to come shred some sax on a Lonely Island track, we'd be very, very excited.
Yeah, let's definitely try for it.
Will you guys do an episode on Popstar, Palm Springs, your albums or sketches you did before SNL?
Palm Springs, probably not, but Popstar, yes.
100% Popstar.
And I very much hope the albums too.
So I think that is very positive feedback from you guys on that.
I mean, it depends how long the pod runs. If we start getting a little threadbare, I might, round up some Palm Springs buds and do it.
I'd love to talk to some Palm Springs buds.
I think it's well down the road, though, if it comes to that. We are focusing on Lonely Island-centric things.
How do you decide who sings, raps, which parts?
I'm sorry, what?
How do you split up the parts in a 3-part song?
Oh, I see. Well, we all write our own parts, and then we choose what we like of each other's, usually.
Yeah. And then we kind of build the song as we go forward with it.
And in more rare occasions, we will write parts for each other, knowing that one of us isn't there, and then have them do it.
Can I tell you my favorite evenly split Lonely Island song, which we'll get to one day?
Sure.
Diaper Money.
Ah, Diaper Money's a goodie.
That one's a good one because I feel like each part is pretty funny in its own specific lane.
Wonderful heightening. Not to get ahead of ourselves, but everything about it.
I do feel like Diaper Money's aging well as well. For me personally.
Yeah.
It's aging in a way where I'm like, I still stand by Diaper Money.
Well, also everything that's true about Diaper Money is more true now.
Oh,
Yeah, the older you get, the more true it gets.
Support for the Lonely Island and Seth Meyers podcast comes from Airbnb. Hi, Yorm.
Hi, Seth.
They've asked us to put this ad in our own voice, and that's really exciting for me because you have one of my favorite voices.
Oh, thanks for noticing, Seth.
And you know what? I feel like if you and I were on a vacation together, here's what I would very much like to do.
Okay.
I would want to be near that voice, but not like share a bedroom with that voice.
That makes sense.
I would want to like convene in a kitchen, maybe make a coffee, knowing that you would come out of your separate bedroom and we could kind of hang out,
Yes, the only thing about that, Seth, is that in the mornings I sound like this.
Hi, Seth. You want to have some coffee?
Like that. So it would be different.
The point is, I don't want to talk to a guy like that in a hotel lobby or even in a hotel restaurant. I want to talk to a guy with both that really good voice and then that terrible morning voice.
Yeah.
In an Airbnb kitchen. And this is one of the nice things that Airbnb vacation provides when you're with friends. Nice common areas to hang out in, but also separate spaces we can return to.
Far away from each
when
other.
you realize that a little goes a long way with Yorma's voice. And at some point, you're like, well, I'm back to my room where the door is going to be closed.
Thanks to Airbnb.
Hey, what's the deal with Yorm dances?
Yeah, what's the deal with that, Yorm?
I don't know how we started doing it, but I think we hadn't had enough work throughout the week. So then when bands would rehearse at SNL, we were like, hey, let's record me dancing in front of them. I don't know why we thought that would be okay. It's on 8H. It's like, the whole crew is watching it.
Loving the use of we here. Loving the liberal use of the word we. And then we all got together and were like, how can we get Yorm up in front of these bands with no pants on?
No, Keith was involved, right? I feel like
this is after establishing that you asked to shoot the video for my pants on your own birthday.
Wait, is that right? That was my birthday?
You told us that.
Oh my God, how embarrassing. How embarrassing. Yeah, I like dancing. And I like getting naked. So I think that, we just started filming them. And I don't know when we would release them. Would we release them that night? Of me dancing in front of bands and being embarrassing, and then
deeply shocked, just checking on YouTube, secret SNL tape, Yorm dances to Death Cab. Almost 1 million views.
Oh, they're funny.
Seems weird.
Well, wait, Seth, have you seen the one where I'm dancing to Gaga? Because that's the best one.
I haven't.
Oh, wow. You should check that out right now, dude.
We'll get there. We'll do a special Yorm dances episode.
Yeah, sounds good.
We'll definitely do it before Palm Springs because this was something that we all decided we needed to do.
Yeah.
I'm being shitty, but we did love the Yorm Dances series and we were always excited to make new ones.
Extra credit.
Are you going to make merch? I feel as though we haven't put any thought into this.
No, but after seeing the Family Trips merch, I'm kind of fucking jealous because I thought that design was cool.
It is a cool design.
Shout out Family Trips, guys.
Shout out Family Trips.
Can I ask a question about Family Trips, Seth?
Sure.
I was sent an email.
Yeah.
And it was the song that your brother Josh did about me when I was on Family Trips.
Yeah.
And I was like, you know what? I didn't listen to the end and I didn't know this song existed. And I was like, so cool. He's like Weird Al-ing this song by the band. And then after the first verse, it just ended and there was like 4 minutes of empty instrumental.
All right. We'll get a little better at it. So every year we have this fantasy football draft, and every year at the fantasy football draft, Josh makes a song. and it's about every dude and sort of their year.
Oh, man.
And so when we started Family Trips, I said, you should finish every episode by, Weird Al-ing a song based on something that was in the pod. He sort of pulls out something and he writes a song. And we realized, and even we wrote an email saying, hey, we appreciate that when you are a guest on a podcast, you don't listen to the whole podcast, but here is your song. And so I'm glad you guys both got them.
Oh,
I liked getting it. And then I was like, just cut the instrumental off.
Yeah.
Hey, wait. Seth, I have a question, though.
Please.
Where'd you guys get the names Sashi and Pashi or whatever you guys call each other?
Sufi and Pashi?
Yeah, Sufis.
Just, growing up.
Okay.
Just being cool guys growing up.
So it wasn't that like one of you guys souffled eggs a lot or something like that?
No.
I think it's pretty clear that Posh rhymes with Josh and Suf is like Seth.
Okay. So it has nothing to do with eggs.
Yeah, I'm asking how did you get
That's nothing to do with souffling eggs.
Well, I don't know. I don't know what their upbringing is like.
Oh my God.
Has anyone ever souffled an egg?
Yeah. Yeah, my brother-in-law souffles eggs. I should start calling him Sufi.
All right, here's a question for Betsy. When I was watching Here I Go, something felt familiar about the lyrics, and I realized the lines, it's called having a cake and eating it too. I baked the cake, I hate the cake. Reminded me of 1, cut a hole in the box, 2, put your junk in the box, 3, make her open the box from dick in the box. Do you like that kind of tight repetition in songs, or is my little monkey brain just desperately seeking out patterns?
Your little monkey brain is not wrong, and it's melodically to me more than lyrically. There's definitely a little overlap there. It's the one moment that I did notice, like, ooh, there's a little dick in a boxy in there. But it was not intentional. I noticed it after.
Andy at one point wanted to write a song called How to Write a Comedy Song. And then we realized too quickly that we were like, oh no, that's just giving away all the secrets.
Beth had a similar observation from a different part of the song. Love the pod, especially how you all say you love each other at the end of each episode. That's very easy. We do love each other. I have listened to Here I Go at least 5 times today and noticed the tune on the line, I'll report you to the cops, is very similar to the tune on It's My Dick in a Box. Was that a purposeful throwback, or is it just the perfect tune rhythm for a comedic moment?
That one I think is less exact than the previous example, but I can't say that there's not a little bit of similarity there also. It was not intentional. We've made hundreds of songs.
Yeah.
And I often write melodies to whatever music has been given to me. I will say Asa made that beat, and he also contributed to what Catrice Barnes had laid down on Dick in a Box. So there's genre-wise maybe a little bit of confluence.
When you said, Andy, that we've made hundreds of songs, for a second it sounded hyperbolic, and then I was like, no, that's accurate.
Yeah, we've made hundreds of songs.
Yeah.
If 2 of them have a little bit of a similar melody, then I own that. I wear that. And I do own that. You know what I mean? I'll wear that.
One thing I didn't see coming, as you were talking about sometimes I have similar moves, was you all of a sudden inventing a brand new character.
My brand new character, the woman everyone dislikes on every season of Love is Blind. I know I acted inappropriately, and I own that.
It's basically the type of person that says, I'm the type of person who...
Look, I'm the kind of person that just gets in the mix. I'll just get in the mix and I'll fuck up, and it's messy, and it's just me.
And
I'll own that. I'll wear that.
I like when therapy language permeates down to the people who never went to therapy. Somewhere, someone was told by their therapist, like, they have to own their bad decisions. And then eventually it reached people that are never going to therapy and they're just stealing it. And I do own that.
Did I lie? Yes. Did I try to fuck your husband? Yes. Did I fuck your husband? Yes. And I own that. But at the same time, you have to come to terms with the fact that I'm going to try again.
I'm blown away by this breakthrough new character. And now I'm going to go to an old character that I feel like was really, that was outside of the comfort zone that I know Andy from. Inside is Griff Banks. Someone wrote, is it true that Lauren once won an arm wrestling contest against Andy to cut Griff Banks, the sensitive bully?
No, he just cut it.
He just cut it.
I like that comment, though.
You can see Griff Banks, sensitive bully on YouTube. We did it as a second.
I just like the idea of Lauren challenging anyone to a physical challenge.
Yeah.
Or, let's run. Let's see who can hit that signpost first.
I like the idea that somebody's like, Andy's really mad about it. And Lauren just starts unbuttoning his shirt. And he's like, send him in.
Let's fucking go. Jinx. Seth, you were in the middle of saying you can see Griff Banks on Second Chance Theater.
You can, yes, which we haven't done many times, but a couple of times great acclaim with cut Andy sketches. Want to Come With.
Want to Come With, Griff Banks. Those were my two.
Yeah.
You've had some really goodies. Forte did what? Benjamin Franklin?
Benjamin Franklin, yeah.
And Suds did Juggling Flyer.
And we did during the pandemic, we did Unicorn.
Ah, yes.
Yeah. We have voice notes as well.
Oh, cool. Just from listeners?
This is from a listener. We had some listeners call in.
Great.
Cool.
Hey, Jada here from the East Bay. I was exposed to you guys in elementary school and have been a big fan ever since, but that resulted in a few instances of me telling teachers I need to take a jizz because I thought it meant pee. So
Oh, no.
thanks for making me grow up weird. Also, my most prized possession is a turtleneck and chain vinyl that I have signed by Yorma. So Andy and Keeve, when can you guys complete it? Maybe on the next tour? Seth, you can sign it too, I guess.
When she started it, first off, shout out Bay Area.
Yeah.
And she said she was exposed to us. I was like, that's phrased kind of negatively. And then when she said that we falsely taught her that the word jizz meant go pee, I was like, oh no, she said it right.
Yeah.
That's true.
She was exposed to our bad stuff.
That is the second person I've heard who has said that it was a kid, a friend of mine, who thought it meant whiz.
Oh,
and then they had to explain to their 9-year-old what jizz was. And they were like, thanks a lot for that video.
And Yorm, you thought for the first 15 years of your life that every time you had an orgasm, you were peeing your pants, right?
This part definitely cut out.
I would just like to leave in Yorm saying we can cut this out, and then me just confirming how happy I am that we're cutting it out. All right, I'm back in business.
And we're back in business. Seth's card is no longer full.
3 shock jocks back on the scene.
I had a little technical glitch and ate up 3 minutes of Andy's day, and he went pretty hard. To be fair, you waited 90 seconds before you started laying into me.
I'm notoriously impatient.
Oh, another new guy. It's a new character workshop. So my whole family, while I'm doing this with you gentlemen, is horseback riding.
Oh.
They're making memories.
See, I'm sorry. There's no way that you can be like, who souffles? A guy who family's going horseback riding. He might grow up souffling. That's possible.
Jesus Christ.
That's possible.
That's what you brought it back to souffle with?
Yeah.
Yeah, man. Oh, shit. Spit it out, dude.
I was just going to say, though, I'm so relieved that I'm here.
Right, yeah.
You know, there
Sure.
are many things my family could be doing right now where I would feel bad that I was doing this instead, but not being on a horse right now is bringing me joy.
I mean, I think for a dude, if you get up on that horse and you're not a horseback rider person, you're coming home with either sore nards or a sore butt or both.
Yeah. Here's one. I actually weirdly don't feel like I know the answer to this, and I'm ashamed.
Okay.
Question on bleeping songs in the broadcast. Does the studio audience hear the unbleeped version live, even though a bleeped version goes out on air?
No, it has to be bleeped in studio.
Of course, because it's live, so they have to hear the bleeped, yeah.
We wish so badly it wasn't, but that's just the rules.
No way around it. Here I go. I did notice that the uncensored version now has more views.
Oh, does it?
I believe so, despite the incredible head start that the broadcast version had.
I mean, I'm not surprised.
I will say the uncensored version, I think it's made much better as a song for being uncensored.
Well, it's not just uncensored. It's also properly mixed without the SNL audience and the sort of echoey nature that brings
sure.
to hear the laughs.
Comedy-wise, I don't think it matters. Musically-wise, it's so much better.
Agreed.
Because I will double down on that. When you hear a beep in a song, your brain is saying the word, but it just sounds less pleasant.
Yes.
I usually agree with that, but to me, I actually think that it's a funnier song because that character, I think, is more surprising that they're saying motherfucking pigs, personally.
You're saying you like it unbleeped.
Usually it doesn't matter to me, and this one, I think, is actually a funnier song unbleeped.
I would argue personally that it's always funnier unbleeped.
All right.
Okay.
Play us another voice note.
You each have been open about not remembering all the sketches you have written in or acted in. Has there been a time when a fan meets you and says their favorite joke or sketch and you have no idea what they're talking about? Did it crush them? And then a second question is, what is up with the Lincoln, the Llama, and the Showgirl? I think that's more specifically for Seth.
Oh, that's the standard backstage thing they always show on SNL. That started like season 1, right?
Well, Seth, you take that one first.
Well, I would just say Lincoln Llama and the Showgirl has come up recently because it falsely was attributed to something that I had come up with, which is very not true. It has been around forever. It made me very happy every time I wrote something that took place backstage to know that they would go get Lincoln Llama and a Showgirl. And I just think, I wish I could say whose idea it was. It is the very funny trio of things to put backstage to hint at a sketch that is about to come. And it screams live showbiz.
What year did it start getting implemented?
That's what I was going to say. Do we have any idea what the first time it ever happened was?
1978.
I believe 70s, but I will now have to go back and get that proper answer.
Yeah, that's interesting to me.
And then do you guys ever get approached and don't remember what it is?
I have a razor sharp memory, so no, I never remember, I never forget anything.
Oh, well, that answers it for Yorm.
Yeah.
I feel like it's happened a few times, but so infrequently that I don't remember what or when. I think sometimes, like, I've done a lot of stuff for kids' shows and movies and stuff, and those things I don't retain as much because they don't come from me or us writing them together.
I make a lot of content these days, guys.
Yeah.
And so just based on 4 monologues a week, sometimes people will reference a joke that I've told recently, and I have no idea what they're talking about.
Oh, but that makes sense to me.
Yeah.
If you told me a joke I did from like hosting an award show or something, I'd be like, no clue. You're so in a tunnel.
Yeah. In rewatching Hot Rod, I noticed that the frontman of the band playing at Rod's final big stunt was Josh Homme. How did a Queens of the Stone Age cameo come about, and why did this discussion not make it into the 2-part episode about the movie?
Did we not talk about it at all? I guess
we
not.
didn't. We must not have.
We became buddies with Hami and those guys because Akiva directed a video or two for them, right, Yorm?
Yeah, it was the one where the video that I remember was where they're rocking so hard that they're blowing people's clothes off with their rock. And I can't remember what the name of the song was.
Was it Queens of the Stone Age there, or was it...
Eagles?
It was Eagles of Death Metal.
He did an Eagles of Death Metal song
Yeah.
and a Queen song. No, maybe it wasn't Queens. Maybe it was Eagles.
Eagles is so funny. Obviously, I knew it was Eagles of Death Metal. It would be so funny if Akiva had directed an Eagles video.
Eagles.
Yeah, that would have been way weird.
Just late era Eagles. Saw Dick in a box and were like, hey, we got to get that guy, man.
That's funny. You know what we should do? More comedy.
Well, I went to an Eagles concert at Madison Square Garden with Alexi and her dad, who loves the Eagles. And it was a wonderful show because it was chronological. And they kept bringing out band members as they joined the band would come out. And they told a lot of stories about the songs. And then it was late in the night and it was into sort of new stuff. And I, halfway through a show, I said to Alexi, hey, should we get out of here just to like beat the rush? And she was like, you want to leave now? And I was like, yeah. Why? What's wrong about now? She said, this is the song we walked down the aisle to.
Ooh.
Oh, Seth.
Yeah.
Ooh, whoa,
Wait, can I guess which one it was?
Sure.
Witchy Woman. Am I way off? Seth, if I'm way off.
Her pick. She picked it.
Oh, man, that's great, Seth. You're so forgetful.
Wow. You're really Yorming this one.
I'm Yorm it. Guys, there was a lot going on at our wedding.
Yorm, what song did you walk down the aisle to? I'm not going to say mine. I'm just making everyone else say something.
Here Comes the Sun by the Beatles.
I was at that wedding. Did you know that?
Yeah, I did because the reviews for Hot Rod came out and you couldn't hide your frown in the wedding photos.
I was crushed.
So every time I look at my wedding photos, I'm just like, man, Hot Rod really shat the bed in that variety.
That can't be true. I was great in the
It
photos.
fucking is. I'll put it in the comments.
I was in the wedding party, Seth.
Oh, yeah.
Sorry, Andy, you're not going to tell us your song that you walked down the aisle to? Doesn't remember. Yes, fuck yeah. Like a steel trap, my memory.
I can give you a hint. It was by the Baja Boys.
Not the Baja Men?
Oh, it's the Baja Men. Shit.
Well, at one time they were the Baja Boys, and then they grew up.
Yeah.
I think ours was a live performance of someone
Yeah.
that Joanna was friends with.
There were a lot of pretty talented musicians at your wedding.
It was a good time.
The Lonely Island was there.
Lonely Island was there. Somehow didn't perform.
Yeah, weird.
Kind of fucked up when you think about it.
Couldn't afford us.
Couldn't afford you. What song of ours would you have done at my wedding if I could have afforded
Japan,
it?
so we all got to sing.
God damn it. Japan would have crushed.
But actually, with that crowd, it would have done quite well.
I have a question. If you had to walk down the aisle to a Lonely Island song, what song would you have walked down to?
Well, I mean, there's obviously Ashley Wednesday from the Popstar soundtrack that Seal sings, which is literally for a proposal.
No, it's got to be one of yours.
Yeah, one of us
Oh.
screaming.
I mean, we wrote it, but okay. Probably
Yeah, we're
Japan.
back to me.
Japan.
Japan.
No.
You don't.
No.
I would, so not that anybody asked me, I think I would walk down the aisle to I Wish It Would Rain.
Oh my god.
That would be,
I love how much you love I Wish It Would Rain.
I'm so excited to get to it.
Oh wait, maybe it was just hiding in plain sight. I would walk down the aisle to Best Look in the World.
Be hard pressed to get an I do out of your lady at the end of that.
You Donald Duck strut right down that aisle.
Oh, yeah, you would do the moves as they called them out.
Yeah, and obviously the look.
You have to dress that way, right?
Yeah.
All right. Because we received so many wonderful questions and voice notes, we're going to actually roll this into a 2-part podcast. So join us for part 2. And the first question we're going to answer is this. I recently watched Seth's special on HBO. And after watching it, I'm curious, whose Swedish chef impression is better? Andy or Seth's?
Can I answer
so
that one when we
excited
come back?
to get into this. I'm so excited to get into this. This has been rankling me.
I thought so. I think it's a really good question, and I'm very excited to get into the rankle.
Okay, but I get to be the tiebreaker.
Okay, great. All right, I love you guys.
Love you, buddy.
Love you.
Hey, what's up, everybody? This is Akiva here. I just wanted to send in a voice note after having listened to the same episode you just listened to. And I wanted to send it after the fact so that everybody else could not respond to me. I really actually agreed with them for the most part. I was similarly shocked at the 2 quick no's at Andy punching people before eating and the 2 quick yeses at the mirror. I do think we have to wait for the podcast to play out to know which things make it in for real. But the 5 they chose, sure. And then the actual real reason I am calling in is Yorm dances. I definitely wanted to just say that I support Yorm in the we of it. If anything, maybe I goaded him into it. I certainly deserve 50% of the blame or of the accolades, let's say. I would say back then there was no TikTok, Snapchat, Instagram. And, we would have little half ideas where nowadays that's where you'd put them, but we didn't have anywhere to put them. And YouTube, our channel felt kind of formal in terms of we always wanted to post like fully formed ideas and big videos. And so it was kind of an experiment of trying to scratch that itch that later on all of our phones do every day. And I remember our phone couldn't even record them, so I would use one of those little silver point and shoot digital cameras because it was the only thing that could take video that was presentable at all. And you see those videos, how shitty they look. That was the best. Our phones couldn't even come close. I'm sure it was still Blackberries. And so we would do them for fun to be punk rock. All right, thanks. Love you guys.